Welcome, everyone! Today, we're going to tackle a really important scientific idea, something called statistical power. But we're going to do it by going to a giant feast. You heard that right. We're explaining the power of a study with Biryani. But let's kick things off with a question. Have you ever thought about this? What if a scientific study, one about a new drug or maybe a big social trend, just completely misses something important? What if the truth was right there, but the study just wasn't strong enough to see it? Well, that's exactly where a concept called statistical power comes in. The official definition is pretty straightforward. It's the probability of detecting a true effect if that effect actually exists. You can kind of think of it as a study's superpower, its ability to actually find what it's looking for.
Okay, but definitions can be a little dry, right? So to really, truly get this, we're not heading to a laboratory. No, we're going right into the heart of the Biryani Hall Challenge. So I want you to just picture this scene. We're in this huge, bustling hall, and the air is just filled with the incredible smell of spices and perfectly cooked rice. This is where our whole story about statistical power is going to unfold. In our story here, the giant pot of biryani, that's the entire study, the whole experiment. And all of the people we've invited to eat, well, those are our study participants. They're our tasters. But, there's a potential problem. Somewhere deep inside this amazing pot of biryani, some spoiled chicken might be hiding. And this spoiled chicken, that represents the true effect. That's the discovery our study is trying to find. And this brings us right to the core question of it all. How good are our tasters at actually finding that spoiled chicken? Their strength, their ability to sniff out the truth hiding in that giant pot, that right there, that's the power of the study.
So, what makes a taster or, a study strong? Well, it really just boils down to 4 key factors. Let's break them down one by one.
All right, first up, and probably the most intuitive one, is what we'll call plates served. In the stats world, they call this sample size.
And the logic here is super simple. More plates means more tasters, and more tasters means you have way more chances to find that one bad piece of chicken. Think about it. A small dinner party, they might totally miss it, but a giant wedding feast, someone is definitely going to find it. The second factor is the spoil size, which lines up perfectly with what researchers call effect size. This one's all about how obvious the problem is. If the chicken is completely raw, a huge, obvious effect, it's going to be super easy to spot. But what if it's just slightly undercooked? That's a much smaller, more subtle effect, and it's way harder to notice. So the bigger the effect, the more power you have to find it.
Third, we've got the spice spread. Now, researchers call this variance, and it's all about consistency.
Just imagine if the biryani is all over the place. Some plates are crazy spicy, others are really mild. All that inconsistency is what we call noise, and it makes it really easy for the spoiled chicken signal to get lost. But if every single plate is perfectly uniform, that bad taste is going to stand right out. Less noise, or less variance, means higher power.
And the final piece of our puzzle is the strict judge. This is our stand-in for the significance level, or alpha, in a study.
Think of it like this. A lenient judge might be convinced if just 1 or 2 people complain. But a super, super strict judge, they're going to need overwhelming proof before they stop the feast. Now here's the catch. By setting that bar for proof so high, you actually make it harder to declare a discovery. And that actually lowers your study's power.
Okay, I know that was a lot to take in all at once. But the great thing about this analogy is that it gives us a really simple way to remember all 4 of these things. So let's pull up your biryani cheat sheet. So there you have it, easy to remember. How many plates are served, the spoil size, the spice spread, and how strict the judge is. Every single one is a key ingredient for figuring out how powerful a study is.
So why have we been talking about tasters and chicken for the last few minutes? Well, let's connect this all back from the world of biryani to the world of actual scientific breakthroughs, because this stuff really truly matters. In real-world research, scientists don't just, hope for the best. They actually aim for a specific target. And the common goal, the convention for statistical power, is 80%. That means a well-designed study should have at least an 8 out of 10 chance of finding a true effect if one is actually there. The takeaway here is so simple, whether we're talking about food or medicine. The goal is always to have the strongest tasters you possibly can. A stronger tasting process leads to a stronger study, and that leads to results you can actually trust. So now you have a new tool in your toolkit. The next time you see a headline about some amazing, groundbreaking new study, you can step back and ask the most important question of all. Were their tasters strong enough? Was the study powerful enough to actually find the truth?